So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste, and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Blub World Web Talks 247th episode. In the last 246 episodes, we have talked to, interacted with more than 4,000 school leaders on this very platform where they've shared their ideas, opinions, innovation, and what all new are they doing in the education space. तो नमस्कार, आप सभी का स्वागत है ब्लब वर्ल्ड वेब टॉक्स के 247वें एपिसोड में। पिछले करीबन करीबन 246 एपिसोड में हमने 4,000 से ज्यादा शिक्षाविदों से बातचीत की और उनसे जानने की कोशिश की कि वो शिक्षा को कैसे बदल रहे हैं और शिक्षा उन्हें कैसे बदल रही है। So today as well, in the next 30 to 40 minutes that we have with you, we'll try to unfold some more details on a very interesting topic. And today, before we start this session, we all have to understand one very critical aspect because that's what plays the most important role in today's topic. आज का हम जो पूरा कॉन्वर्जेशन कर रहे हैं उस पूरे कॉन्वर्जेशन के अंदर जो एपिसेंटर है वेयर दिस डिस्कशन रियली स्टार्ट्स ऑफ फ्रॉम इज द आइडिया ऑफ परसेप्शन. नाउ व्हाट डज परसेप्शन रियली मीन? Perception in the layman's term is something superbly simple. It's basically the image of a reality that you create in your mind. So it is not necessary that reality has to be anywhere near your perception. Your perception could be as far away from reality as possible, and that's the kind of power that imagination has. आपका दिमाग आपको असल सत्य से बहुत दूर खड़ा कर सकता है और उसके बावजूद भी आपको ये लग सकता है कि जो आप सोच रहे हैं वो सत्य है, और उसी बात को हम परसेप्शन कहते हैं. और उस परसेप्शन को जब कमर्शलाइज किया जाता है, when we typically put a lot of money around something, we put a lot of value around something, and we make that perception a belief, that's where something amazing called a brand is born. So today we'll be talking about this amazing journey of something that is just a thought, which transfers through or traverses through a journey of conversations, of words, and finally a brand is born. So what do the people today on this call have to say about this is something that we'll try to know from everyone. The most critical aspect of it, where we all come from, Blub World, which works with teenagers through and through. We also operate the World Teen Parliament and the World Teen Awards, where we try to give more power to teenagers across the world. I'm very happy to share at this point that just on 19th, we are sitting on 21st. 2 days back, we inaugurated the 4th World Teen Parliament. And for the first time, this year, the World Teen Parliament has participants from more than 150 cities from all over the world, more than 22 countries. And we are seeing such amazing teenagers with so amazing ideas. What we try is to bring them together, give them more power, and change the world. Coming back to today's discussion, that for a teenager, because we all have to understand the current generation, Gen Z, is superbly perception driven. They're very conscious of their image. They're very conscious of the way people look at them. They judge themselves quickly. Some of these traits are there in every single teenager, but the current Gen Z is superbly influenced by all of this. So in today's conversation, what we'll try to know that how should a teenager build a personal brand online? Why we are talking about this? Because this is something that keeps a lot of teenagers awake. They keep thinking about this, that am I being perceived in the right way? So let's talk to the experts and know from them that what do they think? How should a teenager build their personal brand? Before we start, just some ground rules. Web Talks or the Blub World Web Talks is a timed platform. So you might get muted once your speaking time is over. If you get muted, please don't get offended. It's just to keep the activity crisp and entertaining for everyone. Secondly, this is a bilingual platform, so you can use English or Hindi, any of these two languages. We would have allowed for more languages, but the problem is I only understand two of these. So please, apologies for that. But yes, these two languages is something that we can entertain. So once again, a very warm welcome to all of you. Let me invite the first speaker for today to initiate the discussion on this topic of how should a teenager typically work on building a personal brand online. A very warm welcome to Mr. Pankaj Belwariar, the Director of Communications for SRM University, Amaravati, Andhra Pradesh. Pankaj, sir, over to you for the next 3 to 4 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Good evening to all. It's really pleasure to connect with teenagers. Since I work with a university, I am all day connected with youngsters who come to the college life. They're also teenagers who are studying here. and I day to day deal with them. And while my job profile is essentially to build the brand of the university, I'm the communication head at SRV University AP. So I work day and night towards building the brand of the university. But the brand of the university cannot be built without building the brand of the students who are there. If the university has got good students, they are doing well, they are studying well, they are qualifying well, they are getting good placement. That is what builds the brand of the university. So everything revolves around how these students, how these teenagers are building the brand while they are in school or college or in the institution. And I very much agree with Daksh, and it's been my favorite topic of discussing perception and perception versus reality. I fully agree with you. Many a times, the perception is not very close to reality. While we see that, we always say that perception is built by actual realities, the data, the facts of life, but many times it goes away from the reality. We will also deal about why it drifts away from the reality. So, one advice to the teenagers that we were not born in the internet era. At least I was not born in the internet era, in the social media era, but the teenagers are born in the social media era. So, in this era, which is highly network driven, which is highly internet driven, which is social media driven, it's a very positive way to look at, for the people who are born in this era compared to the people who are not born in this era, that you have many platforms available here to create a perception. Now, again, as I mentioned again, that you need to realize that how do you build the perception? Everything that you say, everything that you write, everything that you achieve, everything that you speak will create a perception for yourself. And let me tell you, in today's world, for example, when I recruit people, many of the people say that the traditional form of recruitment used to be going through your resume big time and seeing each and every work that you've done for anybody who is working, or getting in to know that what has been your qualification. Today, the first thing any recruiter sees, they go to your LinkedIn profile. They not only check your background on the LinkedIn profile, what you have done in terms of where you have worked, what you've achieved, what you've posted. They also look at what kind of people you're connected with, what is kind of connect level that you have. So are you politically connected, are you socially connected, are you professionally connected, what level of connects you have. Then they always look at what kind of post are you engaging with. Okay, so there are some professional posts, there are learning related posts, there are some technology related posts. What is the kind of post? What is the kind of comment you're making? So therefore, even if you're not saying anything, and then of course, what is the kind of post that you're putting in the social media platform? So when the youngsters are making their perception and making their brand identity in the social media world, they have to be very careful. We have to be very clear. What is the kind of imagery that you want to create for yourself?
Thank you, Pankaj sir, for that amazing start. And I think you're very right the way you've put it all together. That how it starts from that perception, and how that perception transforms typically into the journey of a university, then to a journey of individuals. Because you have to understand every single brand is built out of stories, and stories come from people. And if you're able to nurture those stories, tell them in the right way, in the most creative way, using the right kind of technology, that is when you create a brand for yourself. When a recruiter, the way you very rightly said, that when a recruiter comes on LinkedIn and checks about you, he's basically trying to write a story about you. That, okay, this is the individual. I see him here, I see him there, I see him there. Okay, let's connect the dots. That's your backstory. That's where you're building your brand. These are the dots that somebody is trying to join. So remember, every single interaction that you have online builds that dot, and that becomes a data point for your story. So as a teenager, be very careful what you're doing online, because you might be, trying to be that hip or that amazing guy, but you could get into a difficulty later in the future. Because the point is, when you come on social media, you get to know what everyone else is doing, and most importantly, you expose your own life as well. So thank you so much, Pankaj sir, for that amazing start. I think this gives the right kind of context to the whole conversation. Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Mr. Amit KS, Director of Kidzi, Keon Jhar, Principal of Lions Balvidya Mandir, Pilibhit, Uttar Pradesh. Over to you, and
Yeah,
a very warm welcome.
thank you, sir. Thank you. Good evening to all the viewers and all the students, all the uh, participants and the speakers. I'm really excited today that I'm here and we are talking something that is really, really very important to young people. Now, the topic comes like building a personal brand. Okay. See, personal brand. Why to build a personal brand? First, question yourself whether you wanted to become a content creator, you wanted to become an artist, you wanted to put one impact on the society, or you want to really want to create a personal brand. What do you want to showcase? That first you have to find out. As sir has rightly added, you know, first you find your own niche, what you are about, what is like identify your identity. It is very important to identify your unique identity, because what happened, we choose one thing, again we jump to another, again we jump to another. First, it is very important that you identify your unique identity. So I just want to create focus on, only training yourself first and identify your niche, and then creating a content and learning how to create a content. So these are the four areas which I would like to say all the teens that first you focus on this before jumping into any creating any kind of brand.
Thank you so much, Amitji. And you're very right. What most of the current D2C brands have learned the hard way and in superbly expensive ways. If you look at the kind of startups and brands that you have around you, the kind of products that you're currently using, everyone has learned it the hard way that until and unless you're not authentic on social media, it won't work. So you will have to be yourself. You will have to find your own niche. Until and unless you're not able to introspect and understand yourself, it will be very difficult for you to create a brand because you won't be able to sustain the effort. And the most effort that really goes into building a brand is consistency. Large corporations can pay for that consistency, but individuals cannot. So until and unless you are in love with your own brand or with yourself, until and unless you are self-obsessed, you won't be able to make it. So thank you so much, Amitji. Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Mrs. Dilshika Cooray, the teacher of economics from St. Thomas International College, Sedua, Gampha, Sri Lanka. Dilshika ji, over to you for the next 3 to 4 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm
Thank you
welcome.
very much, first of all, to Blub World for giving me this opportunity. So, if you build a personal branding, if the children, teens, they build a personal branding, they would be more memorable. They would be open to more opportunities, stand out to employers, like in front of the eyes of the employers, they would be unique. And so they would know to take the advantages of their strengths because they until they realize what personal branding means, they do not realize what their strengths are. So as the earlier two speakers mentioned, identifying the niche is very important. And as an economics teacher, business studies, I'm dealing with businesses, so product differentiation is something we talk about. So even for individuals, being differentiated, that means standing out from others, is very important in the online platforms. Not copying what the others are doing, but doing something very unique for yourself. That is very important. And give the first impression they give to the audience is very important when making a footprint on the digital footprint. So they have to be unique on what they're doing. So they have to be very much authentic. So I would extract something by an influencer once said, Emmanuel Iran, if you don't know what you have, it won't matter what you have. Like if you don't know what you have, it doesn't matter. That means we even don't know that we have it. So it's important for us to identify our strengths. Then we have to choose a platform to show our strengths to the people. Like it might be YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. So they must find a proper platform to showcase their talents, and they have to engage with the audience continuously. Once you uh, approach that platform, you must engage with them, you must collaborate with the others. So you will create a develop your voice one day. So developing a voice is very important, and it's a dynamic world. The change is the only consistent thing in this world. So staying updated and evolving, adding something new for what you're doing every day is very important to attract. So keep an eye on trends, news, and changes in your niche. So once you identify your niche, you must understand What are the trends? Like, if we do not get updated with the world, then we would be outdated. So, no point. So, we must be dynamic always. And we also must stay patient. Like, most of our teenagers, they lack patience. Like, they need instant results, like instant noodles. So, like, instant results won't get. So, they must be patient, and they must stay persistent, and you must manage your digital footprint, not to showcase so much of personal data. They must have the security, and they must proceed with their digital platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dilshika. Ma'am. I think one statement that we can surely take forward from this conversation is that things that you have will absolutely be non-important or useless if you don't recognize that you have them. So it's far more important to realize that you have something than to really have that. Because once you try to build your brand, because I think anyone who's working in the space of marketing or branding very well understands that institutions can only project what they have, and that is what will add up to their perception of things. This is where it becomes for individuals as well. It's pretty same that you have to introspect, find out the pointers that really build you as an individual, find out those building blocks, place them in the right way, and that's where you have your brand. So thank you so much, Dilshika ma'am. So let me invite the next speaker for today to share their opinions on the topic. A very warm welcome to Mr. Partha Chakraborty, the principal of Nankar Public School from Moradabad, Uttar Pradesh. Partha sir, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself, and a very warm welcome.
So theory is that every student has certain skills. When he is or she is in class third or class fifth, seventh, like that, every student has certain skills. But nobody knows what type of skills they are having. It is we, the teacher and principals, always try to find out the type of skills and segregate that skills from other activities of the child. Now, skill is very important. That is how they are talking, how they are thinking, how they are getting their fellow students or the teachers, etc., etc. That creates an image. And what a brand is actually an image that you build up. So that image is very important. How we know also side by side that today children in this way or that way they take the advantage of smartphone and crack the areas of that Instagram, Facebook, etc. That means they have their online presence, but in a passive way. Now, to build up a brand online, that is an effective way. So we can say brand ultimately creates a purpose. Now, what is this purpose? That child should know what is his purpose of creating a brand, creating an image.
Thank you so much for the conversation. And I think you're very right when you say that finding out the purpose is far more critical than really starting off with the content. Teenagers are capable enough that they have, devised their own strategies of going online, building their presence, and being there. So thank you so much for the inputs. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Mrs. Nafisa Siddique, the former academic coordinator, Mount Litera Z School, Bodh Gaya, Bihar. Nafisa ji, over to you. Please unmute yourself, and a very warm welcome.
Regarding my opinion, as branding anything new or any product when we brand, first of all, we need to keep few things in mind, which I feel that are the key points to be highlighted. For example, first of all, a product needs to be showcased, whether it is online, whether it is offline. So what I feel is that first is highlighting the key points, that what are the features, what are the characteristics of a particular thing or a particular product which you are selling from yourself. After that, I think that highlighting the characteristics, features of the brand and speciality of that, how we are different from the other. What are the extra benefits? What are the extra facilities which we are giving to them? That makes a difference.
So now it's time to invite the next speaker. While as adults, we have discussed it a lot, that what do we think, that how does a teenager look at self-branding? How does a teen look at personal branding? Let's now converse with a teenager that how do they look at it when they think of branding themselves or building their personal brand on their Instagram, their LinkedIn, or their Facebook, or their YouTube? What's their perception, and how what does it that they have that they'll bring to the table today? A very warm welcome to Ms. Vanessa Pandita, who's a student of grade 8 from Spurs Global School, Noida, Uttar Pradesh. Vanessa, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Thank you. In today's digital age, your online presence is more than just a social media profile. It's a brand. Namaskar to everyone. I'm Vanessa Pandita from class 8A from Spurs Global School, and I am my school's Eco Club head. So, building an online brand as a teenager can be an exciting journey. So, as a teenager who's trying to build an online brand on sustainability, here are a few tips that I can give. First of all, define your brand identity. What are you passionate about, or what are you good about? Example like art, gaming, music, etc. And try to target a certain audience, like who are you trying to reach with your brand? Next, choose your specific social media platform, like Instagram, which has visual focus and it's great for showcasing creativity. But for YouTube, it's for longer form of content, and it's ideal for vlogs or reviews. Next, as a person who's trying to build her own brand, I would recommend one thing: choose quality over quantity. Be consistent and choose high quality program. Be authentic about your brand. Next, you need to build your online presence. Like optimize your profiles, like use relevant stuff. Like be informed about the trends and learn from others, because that's the one thing I would recommend. And the best thing I would say is to stay safe and ethical, and to protect your privacy, because as sir said, you're exposing your life online. So be mindful of what you share online, and yeah, be respectful, treat others with kindness and respect. That's all I can say today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. I think what all a lot of schools, a lot of parents, a lot of institutions were not able to teach a teenager during the moral science class or the value education class. The teenagers learned it very well during their social media interactions. They learned to be authentic, they learned to be empathetic, they learned to treat others with respect. Because what we hear right now, that value education is something that is getting superbly difficult to impart. A school is not at all able to do it within the classroom because students have such a lot of content. So no worries, nature has found its own way of reaching to teenagers, that when you want to build your social media brand, you learn those human skills on your own. Thank you so much, Vanessa. So we have listened to all the speakers for today. So the next 2 to 3 minutes is an open floor. I think Amit ji wants to say something. Amit ji, over to you for a minute. Please unmute yourself.
Fine, fine. So once again, good evening to all. Almost all these speakers have already rightly added, and even Vanessa has added multiple things. As we all know, and it is very easy to get access to all the, today we are having AI with us, we are having Google with us, we can get everything. Whatever we are discussing, everything is available on the net, not a problem. The only thing is consistency. Whatever you do, first you will fall apart, you will be discouraged also, you will be criticized also. Be sure that if you really want to create a brand, accept the criticism. This is what I like to say all the teenagers, and even for the elders and the youngsters, to everyone. Please be consistent and learn. That is what from my side. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Amit ji. You're very right when you say that you have to keep learning consistently. I think Pankaj ji has to say something. Before Pankaj ji actually starts, I want to tell everyone that Pankaj ji comes with a very deep experience of building brands, from the media space to the education space. He's kind of a brand behemoth himself. So I think, do you think that we must encourage teenagers to build their own brands online because it makes them better individuals with the perspective of education, or just with the perspective of branding? They should understand how to act in public, or typically building their etiquettes. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Daksh. I just thought of giving you a strategy to the youngsters how to build a brand, a very comprehensive strategy. What you asked is that, do you think it is important to build a brand? Whether you build a brand or don't build a brand, you will have a branding. You will have a perception. Whether you do something or don't do something, you will have a perception. So, in a 10-15 minutes of interview that you will face when you are passing out from a college for a job interview, the first 2-3 minutes, people create a perception for yourself. They will not talk about 3 years or 4 years of graduation or post graduation that you have done. In 10-15 minutes or 5 minutes time, there is a perception created about you. So whether, Mr. Daksh says that whether it is important to build, whether you build or don't build, there will be a perception created for yourself. So it is better that you improve that perception. You improve that brand building. And I'll just quickly tell you about 5C strategy for building your personal brand. The first thing which is very important in today's world and today's student is to be a critical thinker. Critical thinker is be critical to what is being told, what is being taught to you. Ask why. Why is it happening? Why that cannot happen? What better can happen? Everything, whether you are a science student or art students or a humanities students, everywhere that why should come in terms of your critical thinking, and look at and then be creative. So creativity and critical thinking combination is very awesome combination. Then you can come out with your own creative ideas by your critical thinking ability, that what can be better than what is being done. Okay. And the third thing about this is curiosity. Third C is curiosity. Everyone, all of us, and especially the youngsters, should be curious to know. And in today's internet era, curiosity is very easy to, resolve. If you're curious about something, go to internet, go to AI, go to chatbot. You can know every detail about anything that you're curious about. So if you're not curious, none of the technology is helpful to you. You have to be curious to understand that. The fourth C is called communication, which is what we are talking about. So whatever you are thinking, whatever creativity you have, whatever curiosity you have to have the art of communicating to people. Again, I said, when you sit for an interview where branding matters, where perception matters, even if you are a topper, and I've seen people with 9 CGPA not able to communicate. So therefore, they are not able to build the brand and they are not selected. So good communication skill in a short span of time or 10-15 minutes window, how you're able to communicate, where your strong brand strength is communicated to the person across, and he gets impressed. So ultimately, the life is all about impressing the person on the other side of the table. It's all about that. That's the game. What is good, what is bad is very, very, subjective. Impressive, how impressive are you and how you're able to impress other side of the person is important. And the last C, which is important when you further grow up, is called collaboration. My personal reason for connecting here is to collaborate. I would like to connect with many people, collaborate. Maybe tomorrow, Daksh will come for some help to me. Maybe Vanessa, I will interact with something else. Collaboration is important. How you're able to make friends, make connections when somebody comes to your college, when you go out, meet people, how you can connect and collaborate with them, give them some idea, talk about them, mention that about them. Collaboration ways, online teachers that you tag them when you're doing an online post, tag some people, do a hashtag there and therefore collaborate. So this comprehensive 5C strategy is very important for you to build a brand, and building a brand is very important. Whether you work for it or don't work for it, you will have a branding for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pankaj sir. You're very right when you say that whether you build, whether you work on it, whether you talk about it or not, you'll surely have a brand for yourself. Whether it'll be amazing or not, it's something that you can take a call on. Because at the end of the day, it's just that can you impress the person sitting on the other side of the table? Because that's what's going to happen throughout your life, whether it's your interview, whether it's your office, whether it's your business, whether it's your profession, whether it's your employment, whatever it is, at the end of it, you have to be with people. And the problem with things, for some of them it's a problem, for some of them it's an opportunity. People only buy from people. So you have to understand whether you're looking at an intangible brand that you're so amazed about or so aspirational about, people think of that also as a human being. When you think of a Rolls Royce, you're actually not thinking of a car. You're thinking of the luxury around it. You're thinking of it as a person who's unachievable, who's somebody aspirational. So when you want to build your personal brand, think it the other way around. that once somebody looks at you, when somebody looks at your profile, do they want to be like you? That's where a brand is really born, in that small little space, when they say that, yes, I want some part of me to be like this. And that small little image, small little logo, small little person that you see on your screen, that's the perception of a brand that you live. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here on the 247th episode of the Blub World Web Talks. In all of these conversations that we do at Blub World, we always try to understand what are teenagers really looking at. So before we end this call today, think of yourself. Go and review your own social media profiles. Look at yourself in the mirror and think, what do you really think about yourself? Thank you so much, everyone. This was the Blub World Web Talks 247th episode. It was amazing talking to all of you. Namaste. Have an amazing evening or afternoon or the day ahead. Thank you so much. Namaste. Goodbye.